With a day to the multi-tier elections, women across the country are gearing up to participate in the electoral process like never before. The elections, which are scheduled for June 24th, will be a critical moment for the country as it seeks to consolidate its democratic gains and move forward with its development agenda. Women make up majority of the country's population, yet they have historically underrepresented in political leadership positions. This year's elections could mark a turning point for women's political emancipation. Valnora Edwin is the vice president for the 50-50 group, a group that advocates and promotes women.
We are doing in the African Women's Leadership Network, we try to ensure that you have young women participating at the leadership level, whether it's political or otherwise, because we are of the view that even though we want to see a lot more women in the political leadership, you also need leadership of women in other areas because they are to be the constituency, the support, the backbone of even those who are in politics. Looking at those policy spaces within political parties where those decisions are being made as to how candidates will be selected or party lists would be made. And so you have these. And then I think the wider society, we are still grappling with recognizing that women have the same potentials as men. Women are not trying to usurp authority of men, but you cannot have a country where the greater numbers that spend more time with children, that educate men, cannot be part of decision making. We need to ensure that the constitutional review process is taken forward, because that's one of the caveats. It creates an issue because we have a discriminatory 27 4D and E that discriminates against women. So we need to ensure that the constitutional review process is moved forward, and that section is taken off, and what we had discussed during the process is replaced.
Many women's groups and civil society organizations have been working tirelessly to encourage women to run for office and to vote in the upcoming elections. These efforts have been paying off as more women than ever before have put themselves forward as candidates for various political offices. One of the organizations that has been very helpful in training and promoting women's inclusion is the Campaign for Good Governance. Sakandema is the organization's program manager.
I think the tradition remains a big problem, and being that Sierra Leone is a patriarchal society, men are still, I call it, scared to create the enabling space for women to participate. God knows why. And I often say only a lazy man will fear the empowerment of a woman, but we are pushing. So I think I want to take this opportunity to really call on the men folks that you need not scared of the empowerment of a woman. Is something that you should celebrate. And come this election, I think we need to vote for the women, because no country, no woman. Any country to develop, we need women. The participation of women in national development is key, and it's a recommendation, and it's something that we have to embrace. And we can only prove that through this election by voting in more women, and after the election by appointing more women. Countries that have had women are developed, and as Sierra Leone, if we want to follow suit, we need to have it.
The government has enacted a legislation that gives women at least 30% quota in all elective and appointive positions. The Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act. Will this law create the impact that is expected? Charles Vandy is the Director of Gender Affairs at the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs.
I think we have worked with all of our partners, women's groups, gender activists, development partners, to ensure that some of the international instruments that we have acceded to, including the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 on Women, Peace and Security, the Maputo Protocol, which is the African angle of CEDAW. We have done further work in country to develop policies, to develop legislations that have been passed in Parliament. So our work basically has been looking at the overall empowerment of women and the promotion of gender equality in this country. We'll also focus on the appointed positions. After elections, we have to get serious engagement with the leadership at cabinet level, okay, State House, to ensure that if we are missing out on the elective, let's not miss out on the appointive positions.
The election will provide an opportunity to reflect on the progress made thus far and the work that lies ahead. Both men and women are encouraged to support and empower women's political aspirations, ultimately contributing to a more diverse and representative political system. Marina Terry, AYV News, Freetown.